Welcome back to the next episode of Lone Star College Football. We have the Texas Longhorn and Alabama post-game show coming up right now. Logan is not available, so I recruited my buddy Preston Andrews, fellow Longhorn fan. Gonna let him come on and give us what he thought about the game. Y'all do us a favor. Y'all like the video and subscribe to the channel. Really helps us out. And we're gonna do a giveaway at 100 subscribers. With that being said, Preston, I know you didn't get to watch all the game. You've had a busy day, but let me know what your initial thoughts on what you got to see were.
Yeah, man. So I got up this morning, went to work, and super excited. Started off my morning at work watching day, and everybody doubted us, man.
Yeah,
Everybody. I think really it, there was very few Texas fans, including me and you, that gave us even a chance or even had any type of hope. I had to start off the game listening to the radio. I'm very irritated at the TV companies. But man, that those first couple drives, I initially forgot how exciting radio calls can be for live
yeah,
sporting events, and it really brought me back before I started watching football on TV and listening to the Rangers on the radio and stuff. Anyways, those first couple drives, man, listening to how Quinn was just dropping dimes,
yeah.
all over the field. Wasn't forcing the ball like he did on that first drive last week, which I was very happy to hear. Um, the run game seemed like it started off okay. Um, I remember hearing at kickoff the field was really hot, uh,
Yeah.
so I really took a toll on a lot of the players. Um, Once I finally, found a place to watch the game, man, it was after Quinn had gotten hurt. So I didn't get to see, I only saw highlights of what Quinn was able to do. And man, I was just really impressed his progress from the first quarter of last week to the first quarter of this week. Um, it really just blew me away, and it seems like it blew the rest of the country away too. Um, he's a 5 star for a reason. Um,
1.0
so
5 star.
yeah, so man, I think I'm most impressed with our defensive line.
Gotta be,
Uh,
gotta be impressed.
Totally took control for the most part of the game. Um, just gave Bryce Young hell in the backfield all day. Stuffed that running game for the most part. They had one mistake, but didn't fill a gap, and it cost us. Somebody fills that gap, and it could be a completely different ball game. Officiating, yeah, Alabama had a lot of penalties, but there were a lot of penalties missed as well.
True.
A few face mask penalties I saw didn't get called. The one on Keelan Robinson, say name.
Yeah,
Um,
Keelan.
the holding right there on that last scramble play by Bryce Young to set up the field goal. Uh, but overall, I know, nobody likes to claim moral victories, but
I'm claiming some today.
exactly, yeah, me too. I would have to say that this definitively proves that this program is heading in the right direction. And like they said, I watched the Longhorn Network and like they said, the only way for us to truly know that we're trending in the right direction, or quote unquote, thank you, Sam Ellinger, for this meme for life, that Texas is back. Um, the only way to truly know is if we can build off of this. And I don't
Yeah,
think the only way to really prove that is to win the Big 12 this year, because I don't think anything else will really be counted as a win for the season.
hmm,
Uh, and I was upset. At the end, we had a chance to take it, left too much time on the clock. It's like Dallas leaving too much time for Aaron Rodgers in a row,
yeah.
you know.
It's kind of
It seems good.
it's kind of tough. I told Sydney because I came home and I probably talked for like 20 minutes just about that game. I was watching App State whoop up on the Aggies and I was talking about Texas. And I was like, I told her, I said, I'm not mad. Sydney has never seen the Longhorns since we've been together for 6.5 years. She has never seen the Longhorns lose and me not be mad. I am always mad. It ruins my day.
Yeah,
But the moral victories is that we were 20-point underdogs and we had a chance to win that game. And I think it's unfortunate that it's going to be the same storyline, but the way those first two drives went, you can't tell me without Quinn we don't score way more than 19 points.
yeah.
We scored 10 points with Quinn in the first two drives, and then he gets hurt and we scored 9 points the rest of the game. Um,
Well, it
yeah,
doesn't help that Bard got hurt as well. I mean,
right. That's true.
he just had Card kept us in the game,
He
but
managed it.
if he wasn't able to put any power through it,
Yeah.
and he just get air under those throws. I mean, we all saw he had X wide open down the left side, and if he puts that ball on time, has the power, it's if not, a 50, 60-yard completion, it's a touchdown.
Yeah.
And yeah, but our defense, I'm just so impressed with our defense. I think Gary Patterson really brought something to the Texas football program, and really helped Sark bring in those big bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't say it.
Nick Saban said at the end of the game, he said that I think maybe you or Lane sent it to me that was an SEC team. And if we were in the SEC right now, we'd be in the top half for sure. Like that team is
Yeah,
built big, they're strong, they're tough. Defensively, uh, we made Bama punt 6 straight times.
yeah, that's
Bama might
impressive.
not punt 6 times the rest of the season.
Exactly.
And one thing that's really bothering me, probably more than it should, maybe not. I listened to a podcast on my way to work this morning, and it was the Late Kick Show with Josh Pay. I don't know if you watched that. It really is the best podcast out. He was talking about Bama's defense, saying it is the best Bama defense we've seen. So a lot of people before the
That's tough.
game were saying that, and then now they're saying, "Oh, Bama just played bad." No, no, give the Longhorns their credit. They went
Yeah,
out and played good football. And you're right. We'll see how the rest really next week is going to tell us a lot because Texas is notorious for winning big games and then dropping games. I remember that one year we played number 10 Notre Dame, beat them. Tyron Swoops, the 18 wheeler, and then we go out and lose. In 2018, we go and we beat Oklahoma. Sam Ehlinger beats Oklahoma, and then we drop back to back games the next 2 weeks against West Virginia and Oklahoma State. And so it's like, can we win? Well, we didn't win, but can we play really good football and that translate to the next week? Because I'm already kind of scared about UTSA. I don't think UTSA's like they're good for a group of five school. They put up a fight against Houston, who just lost to Tech today. But talent wise, they shouldn't even be on the same field as us. Really, it should be pretty up and down, straightforward kind of game.
I'm hoping that this team it feels fresh. Honestly, we got a lot of young guys, and
Yeah,
it seems like young guys that are really trying to pride themselves bringing this program back for 2010.
yeah,
And so I'm really impressed with that, with how much pride they have at University of Texas. And yeah, uh, I was watching what was it? Oh, man, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. I don't know where I was going with
oh, good.
that.
I want to talk real quick about the fourth quarter of this game. Uh,
Okay.
In the first 3 quarters, Alabama scored 10 points. Well, they scored 10 in the first quarter. But throughout the whole first 3 quarters of the game, they only scored 10 points and 186 yards of offense. In the fourth quarter alone, they scored another 10 points and 188 yards of offense. And in me and Logan, we have our Lone Star Locks pod. I actually picked Texas. I didn't pick Texas to win. I just didn't think Bama would cover the spread.
Yep.
And that was a good pick. But what I told him, my prediction was that Texas kept it close in the first half, and in the second half is where you see the discipline and the training that Bama wouldn't get tired and Texas would. And really, Texas held with them throughout the 3 quarters. And then that fourth quarter, you kind of saw that where it's like, okay, Bama's not losing their breath yet. Why aren't they getting tired to the point? Like, we just held them to 6 straight. Why are they still coming out here and being able to execute? They should be tired. And they didn't. It really is a. We had 3 trips inside the 10-yard line and only came away with 6 points. That defense was just too stout for our offense. We weren't able to get the running game going. Bijan with 21 carries for 57 yards. It's just that front seven is stout. And I think what it comes down to is they are more used to being in those kind of games, and they were able to do what they got to do, and we weren't. But with that being said, I expected the game to get out of hand in the fourth quarter. Once they first put that one drive together and they went and scored, in my mind, they were going to do it again and again. And actually, on the next drive, we got that fourth down conversion. So I was impressed on how our defense was able to go 6 straight punts, give up a scoring drive where they scored a touchdown, and then come back out and actually get a stop, a turnover on downs. Showed that we were tired, but our guys just weren't quitting. Last season, it just felt like we were quitting in the fourth quarter. And so that impressed the heck out of me for sure.
Man, I hate to like slander Casey Thompson, but we talked about this and we've sent back and forth. If you just compare first half and second half stats between Casey Thompson at Texas last year and in week 1 with Nebraska this year.
I'm trying to find that.
I guess it was
Nebraska score.
Man, it really does kind of put a lot of things. Whoa. Sorry, I'm setting my phone up on a toilet paper roll here. It really does put a lot of things into perspective after you look back on our second half lows from last year. And I think, besides the Arkansas game, we had to lead in the fourth quarter of every game we lost.
And the Iowa State game.
Yeah.
The Iowa State game, we went into half winning 7-3, and then we lost it like a lot to 7 or something like that. It was bad.
And part of that, I don't quite remember at what point in the season that Casey got hurt.
He got hurt against Oklahoma in week 5. He hurt his thumb. The same game Jordan Whittington broke his shoulder or his clavicle or whatever.
Out season that Casey Thompson didn't throw a single ball in practice until game day for the rest of the season. I was absolutely infuriated. That was one of the most insane things I'd ever heard. But even though Card wasn't able to punch in for us, man, he was able to do enough to keep us in it. I wanted to touch back on one thing you said about the defense, about Bama's defense. I think a big part of it is their front seven, is really big, obviously. And I don't think we lack size on our offensive line. I think it's just the experience because they've only started 1-2 games together now, and they're all freshmen, and I think one of them may be a sophomore. Uh,
Well, I think our center, I believe, is Jake Majors, and I think he's a senior. And then we on our offensive line starting today. I know I saw Cole Hudson. He's a true freshman. I don't know if he started the whole game, but I know he played. And Kelvin Banks at right tackle is a true freshman who starts, who might actually be our best offensive lineman.
and there was that one after Card got hurt. They were Bama was getting pressure. He just wasn't able to maneuver through the pocket.
Yeah,
There was that on that fourth quarter drive.
he
Uh,
scrambled.
where he scrambled, yeah, you could definitely see that he was hurt. But where he took that sack,
Yeah,
maybe Bijan
he
slips
fell.
during the. Now there was two rushers in his face. Maybe he's able to take one, if not, trip the other. Not trip, intentionally, but
Right.
he may over trying to get to Card. You can't blame that on Card. The Will Anderson came through so fast,
Yeah,
and I can't remember.
after the watching the replay that I saw that I will tell you when I saw that sack, I threw my hat.
Yeah, I did too.
I yelled. I was like, there's two things you can't do: a
Yeah,
turnover and a sack. And he took a sack, and I threw my hat. And then I watched it. I was like, okay, Bijan was there. He could have picked up a block. He slipped. And could Card have made a guy miss? Maybe. I doubt it. I don't think he's that athletic like a Bryce Young. But maybe that gives him enough time to throw the ball away. I don't know.
yeah,
But we ended up getting a field goal on that drive, so it was all right.
yeah. And then you go to that last drive that Bama had to win the game, and oh man, so I have no idea how he could make himself that small to slip that sack. Man, it was
Yeah.
impressive. And
Speaking of
that,
that play,
I wouldn't doubt it if he wins the Heisman again this year. Just that was his high so far in the season. That could be his top Heisman moment for the rest of the season.
yeah, for sure. Speaking of that play, so that play is actually a big play in the game. After rewatching that on slow mo, there's a holding penalty that got missed on
Front of
Ovia
him.
Gofu.
Yeah.
He slips Ryan Watt, who is a transfer corner out of Ohio State. He's a big dude, number 6. He's like 6'2". He's a big corner. And he slips that, and that holding, that guy, you see the jersey pull and all. 17-yard rush really is a big. They had that one, the running back kind of slipped up the seam. They dumped it off for like 20, and then they had that kind of is what put them in field goal range. They
Yeah.
now, mind you, there was still a minute and a half left on the clock, so they probably would have got there anyways. But that would have been nice to have. There was also
That was,
two. Go ahead.
I thought that was later in the drive. It was less than a minute to go on that play, I thought.
There might uh, there might have been.
And they only
I
had
was thinking
one timeout at the time. So if he takes the sack, they either have to let the clock run or take their
take
last
a
timeout.
timeout,
And
maybe.
back they're back on the 45, 40, 45. And they take the sack plus, they say the holding is called,
Yeah.
you know, it possibly up to the 50, and then there's no chance, barring a miracle, which
Oh,
it's Bama.
Alabama.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, we can just hold on. Our secondary, our backers can just hold the middle of the field for just one play, possibly, and they could just change the entire outcome of the game.
Yeah. There was also two defensive pass interference calls that I felt should have been called. One of them, I think, was on Jatavion Sanders on our first drive where we settled for 3. Mind you, I would have liked to have seen Xavier Worthy catch that ball that he dove for. He caught it, but he bobbled it out of bounds, so it ended up incomplete. I'd have liked to see him snag that one. But then I think there was another one down the left sideline, 2X, that also, in my opinion, should have, from what they were throwing flags on later in the game, I felt like that should have been another defensive pass interference. And then that face mask on Keelan Robinson,
And
they
that was just
yanked him down. I don't know how they missed that.
all time.
Yeah. And now I'm seeing all these videos. Good.
But
I was saying I've seen all these videos now showing that Bryce Young's ankle was down in the end zone on that play. That could have been a safety. I don't know how that changes the game because if it's a safety and he's down and then the hit happens, would the roughing the passer would have stood? Or would it have been a safety and we get the ball back? I don't know how the rule works on that. I was really happy to see them pick it up. I didn't think they were going to pick that up,
And that
and
was
I
such a
was pretty mad.
it's
I thought it was super obvious if the play if the quarterback is still allowed to throw the ball, you can't penalize the defense for making a play on the guy with the ball. So I was glad to see them pick that up.
I initially thought because the play was in the end zone, even though okay, say they said he wasn't down, he got the ball off. The ball bounced off John Jameson's helmet,
Yeah.
but still rolled out of the side of the. How does that not still make it a safety? Even though the ball was thrown forward, it was still in the end. I don't know. I was like, I was
Yeah, I think it would have
arguing.
just been a forward pass.
Yeah.
But
Um, but I do want to point out. I want to go back to that play on that missed defensive pass interference on Sanders.
yeah.
If you watch in, I believe it's Casey Kane is open literally right down the seam in the middle of the end zone.
Mm,
And it's a clear cut touchdown. If Quinn holds that
sees it.
ball a little bit, makes if he moves to his second read, he's got a touchdown. Because I believe it was Casey Kane, but he was
Yeah.
just the linebacker never left with him into the end zone, and yeah, he just had to put a little bit of air under it, and there's 7. Um,
Yeah.
that's another 4 point swing there.
True.
So
Well, let's I just want to talk we'll talk about Quinn and Card real quick. So Quinn Ewers, it has been reported he has a clavicle sprain. I've seen one thing that said he was clapping on the sideline, and they believe he could be back within. Maybe they rest him for UTSA, so he comes back for conference play. And then Lane looked it up and said that sometimes a clavicle sprain can be 6 to 8 weeks. So at the moment, we don't have a timetable at all. But Hudson Card came in. He didn't play amazingly great. He didn't play bad. He just didn't make great plays, I guess. He made some good plays, talented plays, but he played well enough that any fan, including myself, that kind of had when he came in, I was like, well, that's the game. Uh, man, I got to put some respect on Hudson Card's name, and I
it's
think
kind
he earned it.
of like when Colt got hurt and Garrett Gilbert came through freshman, never started a game in his life. And though he threw 4 interceptions,
Yeah,
we still win until Bama had 2 lucky touchdowns right there at the end to pad the score.
yeah.
Um, I mean, what was still, what was it, 21-24 with 4 minutes to go in that championship game? Something like that. They
No,
got,
because they scored 24 points in the second quarter alone. So I don't know what the breakdown on that would be. But
there's
Bama
something,
scored.
it's kind of along the same lines. The only, Cards had 2 starts under his
Yeah.
belt, but that's, because he played who we played Rice week 1 last year.
Now he played Louisiana Lafayette to start
Oh,
the season, and then he started against Arkansas, and you know how that went.
yeah. Um, I'm honestly impressed after that Arkansas game. I'm impressed with how he's improved.
Yeah, me too.
Regardless if we lost, I think goodness, which is one of the things we loved about Sam. Um,
Yeah,
is his ability, fight through anything. And there's a reason that people say Sam's a fullback playing quarterback. He's just a massive um, that can launch the ball. Um, so Card doesn't have the size that Sam did, but
no,
size doesn't matter when it comes to just being able to purely fight through pain or fight through whatever to get your team, do whatever you can for your team. And I think that impressed the entire Texas fan base.
yeah, I completely agree. Well, we are just about we got a little bit longer, but we're coming close to running out of time. So we'll cut this short and just say I think if Texas plays like that the rest of the season, uh, I think we're in the playoffs. Will they do that? I don't know. But if we win out and win a Big 12 champ and our only loss is by one to Bama, we're making the playoffs. So
I I have about that all day, but thinking about it now, yeah, if we went out and win the Big 12, which I'm gonna have to see Oklahoma actually play somebody. Um,
well,
and
Kent State was giving them a run for the first half.
I don't
Oh,
think they're looking at our performance today. It doesn't look like they're going to play anybody until Red River comes
yeah,
and see how that game goes. But the thing is, with that game, like literally talent and record never matter.
yeah.
Uh,
That's just a rivalry game.
exactly. It's just doesn't matter. One of us are. Um, it's still going to be 45, 48, and whoever has the ball last is going to win. Uh, So, with that being said, I really can't. I have to. I need to sit down and watch OU play to actually get a gauge on if they're gonna challenge us and Baylor for the Big 12 championship. Because it obviously it's Baylor, and I'm putting them at the top because they're defending champ. Baylor, Oklahoma State's looking really good. They're putting up a lot of points. Spencer Sanders,
They're only up
you know.
by 7 to Arizona State right now. Oklahoma State is. So
Oh, I hadn't looked in on that game yet.
yeah, I think
I'm only merely giving them that second spot
because of
because
last
of the
year.
runner-up. Spencer Sanders has 3 years starting experience.
True.
He lost in the draft, but um, and then it's going to be us in Oklahoma, obviously in no particular order because
No,
it's still
you're
early.
right. It's us in Oklahoma.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. That I hope that Quinn is not going to be.
Please come back.
He can get rested as long as Cards put heels up. He can get us through next week. Give Quinn
Yeah.
an extra week.
I'd love to see Murphy or yeah, Malik Murphy come out. I'd love to see it.
That on the broadcast, they were like, I don't remember who that other guy is. We have that white kid.
Charles Wright.
Uh,
He's a walk on.
okay, I don't know. I know about him. I've seen. I know we've both seen off-season videos of Murphy slinging the ball
Slinging it.
like end to end, and I was like, man, if he comes in, because they don't know how to. Even if he doesn't playbook that well, Bama doesn't know what he can do,
He can move.
and yeah, he can just the next Bryce Young. He could be the
Yeah.
next. Well, the thing about Bryce Young is he only runs if he has to.
True.
He's a pass first quarterback. Um, but I'm trying to do another big quarterback like that could sling the ball.
Vince Young, Cam Newton.
RG3, but RG3 wasn't massive. He was just really fast. But yeah, Cam Newton.
Vince Young, Lamar. I mean, those big, tall quarterbacks with a cannon.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm just hoping that Quinn's all right. The MRI turns out good, and Hard can get us through next week. And Quinn starts in Lubbock, and I think it's Lubbock, right?
Yeah, I think we do play them in Lubbock.
Yeah, I hope we can just go hang 70 on the Red Raiders again.
They didn't play very well today. They beat Houston by 3 in like double overtime. So I feel good about that game. But we'll see. We'll see. We are running out of time. We're just over 3 minutes left on this. So I'm gonna close this out. If y'all made it this far, we do appreciate y'all. And let us know what y'all think about the game. Uh, I'm glad to see Texas playing at a high level, and I just hope it translates throughout the rest of the season. One last comment. Nick Saban's so classy. I don't know if you saw the video, but at the end of the game, he's going to shake Sark's hand, and the Bama players are doing horns down, and he tells them, he yells at him and says, "Y'all better quit that crap." And it's like, first of all, he's mad because why you're doing horns down, you beat us unranked Texas by 1. But I think a lot of it is also just act like you've been there before. And I think that's Saban is he's like, act like y'all have been here before. We've won national championships. Y'all don't have to do all that. Y'all don't have to
Well,
stoop down to that Aggie and Oklahoma level of doing horns down. It is what it is.
I think that honestly, Saban, he can say whatever before the game. But I think the game itself actually realize uh, what Sark is doing, for Texas, and because everybody was expecting Sark just to fall apart like he did at USC again,
Yeah.
and at Washington State or something like that. Um,
He
but yeah,
played good. He actually coached really good for Washington. He brought that program back. That's how he got the USC job and then fell
yeah,
apart there. But well, appreciate y'all. Me and Logan will be on here. Hopefully, the Baylor game's at like 9:15, so I doubt we'll get it tonight. We'll probably try to do it tomorrow night and do the post game for Baylor. We appreciate y'all checking out the video, and we will see y'all next week for our post game for Texas versus UTSA. And Preston, I sure do appreciate you hopping on here and doing that.
yeah, for sure. Anytime, man. Let me know.
Yeah. Uh, all right, we're gonna close this out, and no matter what, win, lose, or draw, the horns always go up. You know what I mean?
Welcome.
All right.